There are two access roads that lead to the vulture view sites at Collywobbles in the Eastern Cape. This is the first road that descends from the village of Sundwana over a knife-edge ridge and up a very steep climb to the village of Msikiti. Despite the very steep gradients of 1 in 5 on the final climb, it's quite possible to drive this in a normal car, but make sure that you engage first gear where the concrete starts and remain in first gear until you reach the top. Vulture viewing is usually very good at the village of Msikiti, but Collywobbles is much more than viewing the big birds. There are few places in South Africa that have a name quite as intriguing as the Collywobbles. Located in the heart of the former Transkei region of the Eastern Cape, this remote and rugged landscape stretches along the middle reaches of the Mbashi River between the towns of Vulture and Willowvale. It's a place of extraordinary beauty where steep cliffs, winding river valleys, rolling grasslands and traditional Xhosa villages combine to create one of the country's most spectacular natural environments. The unusual name Collywobbles is an Old English word used to describe an upset stomach. The story is told that when Sir George Pomeroy Colley, commander of the British forces in the mid-1800s, first saw the maze of canyons, he said it made him feel wobbly. A quick-witted aide said, "Yes sir, it's the Collywobbles," and the name stuck. The Mbashi River follows an incredibly tortuous course, carving giant meanders through the landscape. The river seems to twist and double back in itself endlessly, creating a maze of cliffs, gorges and isolated ridges. Over millions of years, the Mbashi River has cut deep into the ancient rocks of the Eastern Cape. In places, the cliffs rise several hundred meters above the river below. These towering sandstone and shale formations create dramatic scenery that rivals many of South Africa's better-known natural attractions. The area remains largely undeveloped, preserving a sense of wilderness that has disappeared from much of the country. The grass-covered hills surrounding the river support traditional rural communities where livestock farming remains an important way of life. Cattle, goats and sheep graze the slopes much as they have for generations. Despite modern influences, many aspects of traditional Xhosa culture remain deeply rooted in the region, adding a rich cultural dimension to the natural beauty of the landscape. Yet, remarkable as the scenery may be, the Collywobbles are perhaps most famous for something even more extraordinary. High on the sheer cliffs overlooking the Mbashi lives one of South Africa's important breeding colonies of Cape Griffon vultures. The Cape Griffon, also known as the Cape vulture, is one of Africa's largest birds with a wingspan of almost 2 meters. The electricity pylons in view now serve the Collywobbles hydroelectric scheme, which in its heyday produced 32 megawatts of hydropower into the national grid. Silting of the Mbashi Dam, which is on the left, is where the water is diverted via a tunnel to the power turbines on the right, and had a head of 132 meters by cutting out almost 34 kilometers of river bends. The plant is no longer operational. Keep left here to get to the upper view site at Msikiti. The vultures at Collywobbles, with their contrasting dark feathers and powerful soaring abilities, make them unmistakable when seen gliding effortlessly on rising air currents. The Collywobbles colony is amongst the largest remaining breeding sites for the species in South Africa. The vertical cliffs along the Mbashi provide ideal nesting habitat. Here, hundreds of vultures gather during the breeding season, occupying narrow ledges that are inaccessible to predators and human disturbance. The birds typically begin breeding during the cooler months of the year. Each breeding pair lays a single egg on a cliff ledge lined with sticks, grass and other nesting material. The incubation period lasts nearly 2 months, with both parents sharing responsibility for keeping the egg warm. Once the chick hatches, it becomes entirely dependent on its parents. Adult vultures travel long distances across the Eastern Cape and neighboring provinces in search of food. Their keen eyesight allows them to locate animal carcasses from great heights. The spectacle of dozens and sometimes hundreds of vultures circling above the cliffs is one of the most impressive wildlife experiences in southern Africa. Using thermals generated by the steep terrain, the birds can soar for hours without flapping their wings. From a distance, they appear almost motionless as they ride invisible currents high above the gorge. The importance of the Collywobbles colony extends far beyond the Eastern Cape. Cape griffon vulture populations have declined significantly over the past century. Habitat loss, poisoning, collisions with power lines, and accidental consumption of toxic substances have all contributed to population reductions across their range.